One key to creativity, which I've seen shared on blog after blog, is to persevere during the earliest stages, during ideation. That's the process of coming up with different ideas that might work for your product or project. The key to this is to create lots of different ideas. Don't get attached to any of them. Just create a whole bunch of ideas. Later on, you'll look at them and choose the most effective one. But to start with, you want a lot of ideas. You want different ideas. A lot of beginning designers make the mistake of coming up with an idea and then they think, oh, this is great. This is the perfect solution. And they don't move on past that first idea. They get really attached to it. And I see lots of students, even in high school, who do that. And then because the assignment says you have to have lots of other ideas, they come up with a bunch of other throwaway ideas that don't matter just to finish the assignment. But they really only had one good idea, and that was their very first one. And it may not be very good. Here's an example of somebody who was doing a project for a small scale storage unit. And I'm going to play the video here. It's at double speed, so this will go really quickly. But he starts looking, I think it's a he from the hands, but he starts looking at a little storage unit here and he draws it out with another little detail. And then he moves on and comes up with a different idea. And then he leaves that one after filling out that idea and comes up with another idea and just fills up his page with all kinds of different possibilities that he's worked on and worked out different ways to store something in that small scale space. The rest of the video is interesting. It goes through how to turn this into a nice looking piece of design work to really show off the ideas. It'll show you fine lining and shading and rendering. So it's worth going back and looking at. And I will put a link in the project there. But the point here is that he's come up with 6 significantly different ideas. And you can kind of see how they might have played off of each other. So he put this together, drew out this drawer coming out there in the middle, and then decided, oh, drawers, that would be neat. So he drew one that was more drawer oriented. And then maybe that inspired something. Oh, what if the drawers were a little bit different shapes? So here's an upside down look at how that those feet look. Maybe it's one big drawer. Maybe it's a stand, but it's curved. That would be an interesting change to put in there. So he throws that in there. Oh, maybe this would have shelves on it. So then we've got a whole different version here. These are all different ideas. And he didn't stop with one and say, oh my gosh, this is the best idea ever. And he didn't come up with throwaway ideas that were clearly not workable. He really worked on coming up with different ideas. Now, this is 6, which is great, but it's not a lot of ideas. Most designers that are in the profession will tell you that it's best to do maybe 10 or 20 or 30. So here are some examples from a high school project. They were doing a USB lamp, and so they came up with ideas. This guy came up with several different ideas here, somewhat similar to each other, not a huge amount of variation. And then some of these guys played with lots and lots of different ideas, really different shapes, really different structures for how this lamp might get put together. And that's what you need to do. Get inspired by lots of different things so you can create lots of different ideas, and then you can come back and say, oh my gosh, this was the best idea I had, and here's why. But if you only have 1 or 3 ideas to choose from, you don't really have very much choice. So fill your page up with lots of ideas. Go fast. Don't sketch them out in huge detail until you're done, and then come back and fill in that one detail that looks really good. But get lots. That's the key.